It's yet another grand day for Mercedes Benz India, a company that has had quite a rocking 2022. And today, the Germans have launched two more products in their India portfolio. You're looking at one, the all-electric EQB, and the company has also launched the all-new GLB. To speak to us more about both of these models today, we're joined by Santosh Iyer. Santosh, let me just start off by saying congratulations on the launch of both of these models.
Thank you.
A fitting end to 2022 with the launch of these models?
Yeah, I think there couldn't have been a better end to 22 with a slew of launches. We started the year with the S-Class Maybach. We had the GT Black Series and also the EQS, which was a very important launch for us. And now ending the year on a big note with two launches, the GLB and the EQB, both the siblings together.
Yeah, it's also been a year where you've not just focused on the conventional, quote unquote, the conventional models, but expanded your lineup of electric vehicles, which gets me to the star of the day of sorts, the EQB. Tell us the thought process behind getting the EQB. The EQS, of course, was your last launch, a lot of fanfare around that. But the thought process behind getting the EQB, your expectations, and the sort of segment where this will fit in the kind of customer target audience.
Yeah, actually we started from the segment when we were looking at what are the vacant spots now in our segment. And in our category, we have the luxury, the core luxury, and then we have the top-end luxury, which is cars more than 1 crore of rupees. In between the core luxury, which is cars costing 50 lakhs to 1 crore, we have the C-Class, the E-Class, the GLC and the GLE. The largest selling SUV for us is the GLC, and there we see a lot of customer demand. And here, when we talk to customers, they all want also an option because they have large families. Sometimes, visiting parents, they have pets, and is there a space for a larger car? So either they shift to the GLE, but that's also a 5-seater, and we clearly see a space for a 7-seater sweet spot. So once we decided that yes, the 7-seater concept works, then we said what powertrains. So the diesel and the petrol were given, but we also have the EV powertrain, and therefore we thought let's give it a go, and we should go and also offer all the three powertrains to the customer as an option. There will be a set of customers who are ready for EV today. They say, I go for the EV, I understand it has a good range, anywhere WLTP 400 plus. So in that sense, this is a car for everyday use. And then there is another set of customers who says, hey, let me wait for a couple of years, I go for a gasoline or a diesel. Maybe the next car I will shift for an EV. So for them, we have the GLB anyways as the standard product. So a 7-seater, considering Indian families, pets, and also they want to travel, I think we thought that this is a sweet spot. The GLS is extremely successful actually. In the top end segment, we have a huge waiting period for 9 months for a 7-seater SUV. So we thought this makes perfect sense, and that's the reason of launching these cars.
Right, so 7-seater, the 3-row concept I understand, but just to take you back a few years, you launched the GLC. In fact, Mercedes was the first luxury car manufacturer to bring out an electric vehicle. Now, just tell us a little bit about GLC over the period of years. How has it been faring, and especially now with more and more of these newer models coming in? Where does the GLC sit now that you now have another quote-unquote competing SUV from the family?
I think you're referring to the EQC, the GLC derivative of the electric derivative of the GLC. I think when we launched this car 2 years back, there was a bit of uncertainty, including, we were asked, is India ready for electric? We also planned conservatively in terms of volumes. So the moment we launched the car, there was a huge demand. And by the time, so the first set of cars went, and by the time we were catering to the second set, COVID struck. So we had wave 1, we had wave 2. We had fluctuation in deliveries because we used to have one consignment coming, then the factory was closed in Germany, and then the demand was so EQC always had this, patches of cars arrival, and then for a period of 6 months, no cars. Again, some cars arrival, but it's based on an EVA 1.0 platform. So it did its job in telling us that India is ready for EV if we get the products. So in the second wave of COVID is where we decided we will localize the EQS. And for us, the EQC was really a good mirror to tell us there is potential in the market and let's go and localize it. When we are thinking of the EQB, this is the next generation after the EQC in terms of, as I said, this is EVA 1.5 from a platform perspective, and it's more latest. Also, from a pricing perspective, we will be able to compete right in midst of the 50 to 1 crore segment, whereas the EQC was on that 1 crore barrier, being one of the first early mover cars as such. So our strategy is, yes, EQC played its role in telling us the the segment potential. Customers are happy with the car, and now it's time to now start and expand the portfolio. We started with the EQS on the top end, now with the EQB, and in the years to come, we will continue our EV offensive in the market.
Right. I ask you this every time Mercedes invites us for the launch of an electric vehicle, but this occasion is as good as any. Electric vehicles are the future, yes, not just around the world, but here in India as well. But are electric cars here in India still sort of a volume driver, or is it still a show of intent, a show of what brands are capable of?
No, I think if you look at mass market, a good product is selling in volumes. If you take an example of EQS, we have already more than 200 bookings. We are already delivered more than 100 cars after we have launched. So there is market, there are customers who are buying these cars, and there is demand. Today the EQS is I think sold out till March, if I'm not wrong. So in that sense, there is good demand. Even with the EQB, we have not even announced the price. There is already huge amount of inquiries and customers wanting to book these cars. So I think the right product will play an equal volume game as an ICE. It's just a powertrain if you're coming to think of it, and the adoption is for a certain set of customers who can charge the car. See, we are giving a complimentary wall box with this car. So if you charge at home, it's done. We are setting up a charging infrastructure across India. Plus we have aggregators like Xeon, Tata Power, and many who are able to charge. So it's a matter of time, and we really look at these cars as volume, not as brand shapers or anything, just to be clear.
Is there going to be a tectonic shift from your very, very popular GLC models to the likes of now the E in the Mercedes lineup? Do you see that happening? Because I'll tell you where I'm coming from. Mercedes in the past has said that it wants to go all electric 2030. That's
Correct.
the date.
Yeah.
But there's something very interesting that Mercedes also says. In markets where it's feasible or possible
Correct,
to do
correct,
so,
absolutely.
is India going towards being in that list of markets where it's possible?
See, in today's time, 2030 is a bit far off to predict. But if you ask us now, next 4 years, we see 25% of our sales being EVs. So that's something we are quite clear, and we feel that should happen and the market should mature enough. From 25 to 30, there is a lot of factors, including macroeconomic factors and others. So we need to wait and watch to see whether we go 100% by 2030 or maybe another 3-4 years. It's not that India will be away from the global trend. It's a matter of time where even the overall ecosystem decides now it's shut down. You see what's happening to diesels for many OEMs. It's just not there. In our case, we are able to offer diesels. We continue to offer diesels. But so it's very clear that from a legislation perspective and from a consumer perspective, both will converge, and the EVs will take more and more share from the conventional car lines. So in our case, we are committed. It's the products which do the job. A good range, if you are able to offer at the right pricing, I think there are enough and more takers. And in the mass market, we have seen that. It's clearly demonstrated again by some of the players there.
Right. Very interesting that you touched upon the diesel aspect. Now, this is a question that I was just about to come to. At a time when not just some of your direct rivals, but players in the mass market segment are also completely and entirely ditching diesel, you continue to offer petrol, electric, of course, and diesel.
Yeah.
Is that a conscious decision? Is that a decision you think, I'm asking you to predict here, that Mercedes Benz India is likely to persist in the times to come?
No, we are fully committed to all the powertrains, including diesels, because we have markets like Punjab, we have Kerala, we have South, where there is a lot of demand for diesel. These are terrains where customers need higher torque. City driving, you are still okay with petrol, but uphill country roadsides, you need those torquey engines, which EVs offer and diesels offer. So in that sense, we will be offering the entire portfolio. We are fully committed. All our product lineup have a diesel, including the GLB that we have launched today, and we will continue with that.
Right. So let's speak about GLB. So how is the GLB customer different from, say, a potential EQB customer?
I would only say that, first of all, both these customers need space. They need a versatile car with a different seating concept, because they need this on and off space of the third row whenever it is. We are also clear that the third row is more for pre-teens, pets. So it's not like a full-blown, 7-seater where, the entire large families can go in. But pre-teens, pets and others can easily get accommodated, and also for luggage space, golf bags and many other enough boot space. Now the next step is which powertrain. So if you look at the customers selecting between petrol to diesel, they select how much they are going to drive. So if they are going to drive long kilometers, they go for diesel. If the driving is less, they go for petrol. Similarly, there will be a third set now saying that I want to, first of all, from a mindset, people want to be seen in a green number plate. You know, that also is a distinction that I am driving a sustainable vehicle. Secondly, the overall drive and feel of this car, when it comes to an EV, when you drive this, also you will feel this, that the EV is much more peppier. It's a much more driver's delight compared to any combustion engine cars. So this is again more driver oriented to that extent. And of course, many of the EV customers would also not be doing intra-city travel. So for them, they go to work, they are doing their commute, and this car gives a good range. So once in 3-4 days, I charge my car and I am done with it. So these are customers who go for EVs. And the other guy says, today I go for a combustion engine, in 3 years time I will anyway shift for an EV. But let me now go with a conventional car and then maybe I shift to an EV. So it depends on different customer needs, their driving styles, their preferences, their range anxiety in their own mind, that should I prefer a petrol pump, or here I have to search for a charging station. So this is depending on how progressive the customer outlook is, and that's how the customer profiles would be.
So as I understand, it's more about customer customization and then addressing to that, and you have the portfolio to cater
Exactly.
to it. Fair enough, understood. But that also gets me to another question. Is there a chance that the GLB may cannibalize some of that potential market for the GLC, which is your best-selling SUV? And similarly, this car right here can potentially come in the way of, say, the GLC, which has seen its time here in India.
See, our role in India, if you see, our growth in India is coming from products. If we don't offer what a customer needs, then we will anyway not be successful. So for us, we don't fear the cannibalization because there is enough potential for the market to grow. Today we sell now significant amount of GLS. That market never existed. But if there is a right product, there are customers buying those cars. They are waiting for 6 months to buy those cars. Similarly, even with EQB, the GLB and the GLC, we see there are a lot of customers who intend to buy SUVs in that segment. With a proper car in that portfolio, we will be able to address to a certain latent demand. We will get new customers. Many of our customers also take this as additional cars. So I'm sure a EQB or a GLB will also be an additional car, a luxury car in many households, and they may already have this car. So for us, these products expand the market. Having said that, cannibalization will happen. It's not that. But as long as we are overall able to expand the market, I think it's welcome.
As long as everything is in the family, it's fine, the Mercedes family. Understood. So how many SUVs now do you have in the Mercedes Benz India lineup with the introduction of these two models?
So 13 SUVs, the largest portfolio we have in our entire segment.
13,
yes.
That's quite a stunningly big number, and yet your best-selling model in the country is?
The E-Class.
E-Class, which is a sedan, which is...
Again, India specific.
Right.
We are the only country in the world which sells a long wheelbase right-hand drive E-Class, and we have localized it.
Right.
And this is again understanding the consumer, what the customer wants, and then we are successful with this strategy. And that car has no rivals, you can say clearly. You know, we have a very dominant share with that car because the comfort it offers. It's a good car when you are on the week for driving with a chauffeur, and exactly a great car also on the weekends when you are going to self-drive this car. So it's a product which also does a lot of talking in that sense. So and therefore I say the core luxury is the biggest segment. We have the largest selling car is the E-Class, and the largest selling SUV is the GLC, and both form part of the 70-80 lakh kind of a segment there, which is the core luxury segment that we call.
Right. Santosh, very insightful. Would like to thank you for taking the time out and speaking to HT Auto.
Thanks for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you. So there you had it, Santosh Iyer telling us how now Mercedes-Benz here in India has as many as 13 SUVs and has petrol, diesel and electric as well. A lot of choices. And of course, still its best-selling model is the E-Class. So a lot of choices when you go the next time to a Mercedes-Benz dealer. For now though, that's all the time we have on this episode. I'm Shubhadeep. Thank you for watching.